Welcome back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Mikey the Freak. He's back.
What's up?
Yeah.
Miss me? Did you miss me? No, probably not.
No.
We're not going that far.
And
No,
Bebo.
I never miss me.
And Bebo. Today we are going to be reviewing the classic movie, The Lost Boys. Bebo, tell us a little bit about this movie.
Classic.
It is not a Peter Pan classic, as some of y'all might have been led to believe.
I was expecting it. I really was.
Yeah, where the hell is Tinkerbell?
That was a
Oh, she was there.
Boys.
So basically, it's a family who it's a mom, her two sons. She's just gone through a divorce. She's going back to live with her dad in a little beach town. And while they're there, you run into the bad boys in the area, which turn out to be vampires. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Other than that, this is a good movie to smoke a joint and just eat, shit while you're watching it because it's...
Hey, some popcorn.
Yeah, it may actually make the movie a little better for the special effects portions.
Definitely interesting.
Yes, it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, see, as I was the only one who had actually seen this movie before we started reviewing it for this, let's start off with Mikey the Freak and his take on it.
Whoa, look, yeah.
Okay, that's enough. Bearded Geek.
That's way too much. That's why I'm so excited. Yeah, I mean the cast was good. I like the cast. This is your very
80s.
Strong 80s B plus, maybe A minus cast.
I'd go with A minus.
Yeah.
So yeah, A minus, yeah, because Corey Feldman had so many roles and movies that he was doing at the same time in the height of his days in the late 80s. Which we'll go into that a little bit later. But yeah, I love to see Alex Winter in this movie. I always expect, always see him as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure around the same time frame. So it was fun to see him as a vampire. It was interesting, his bug eyes and weird, just odd, peculiar behaviors.
Yeah, his hair.
But let's give it up
to
the perm to mullet that the dude was rocking.
Perm to mullet, yes. The late 80s mullet style. Yeah, so seeing you trying to follow this movie and understanding that we all know that they're vampires because the movie is a cult classic from the late 80s, big following back then. But we understand they're vampires, but what's weird about it is they hint at it through the entire movie, but you really don't see them in their vampire demonic form until like the very last type scenes where they're trying to kill them at the end.
Yeah, the last third. I'd say about the last third of the movie.
Yeah, and it's strange because I would think you could see more of that. So because they really weren't hiding it at all. When Michael became a vampire and you couldn't see his reflection, they had all those hints on trying to test whether or not they're a vampire. And when they tried to test Edward Herrmann's character to see if he's the main big vampire, it wasn't working, and you find out at the end that the vampire has to be invited into their home, and then their tactics, garlic and stuff like that, won't work against them because you invited them in.
Right.
So it kind of made them what's the word? Immune to it.
Yeah, impervious.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and then you get a subtle hint to that, and then when they say that at the end, you're like, oh, that's why the garlic and stuff wouldn't work. I did enjoy the makeup. I thought the makeup was pretty good when they went to that demonic form. I thought that was pretty good. I did enjoy that part. But yeah, I mean, it's 80s movie, seaside, California. I think that's what it was. Is California seaside. But you get subtle
Santa
hints.
Clara, Santa Clara.
Yeah. So you see subtle hints, with the billboard writing on, vampires are here, or that kind of hints.
Death capital of the world.
Death capital of the world. Yeah.
Murder capital of the world.
Murder Capital.
Murder
yes.
Capital. Sorry, yes.
And then you see like the missing.
As you can tell, we all really paid attention.
Yes, yeah. It's something to do with death, guys.
Yes.
It's something to do with death. The subtle missing children and missing people signs that you kind of see. And then you have your boring type corny fog throughout the entire movie.
Jesus, the fog.
The eerie luminescent fog that, oh shit, the fog's rolling in. There's something in the background. And then they do the fog where I guess they were supposed to
it was really good fog though too, because I'm pretty sure it was some 80-year-old dude out there with a pack of smokes just going, I got this.
I didn't like the train scene where they're hanging from the train. I thought it was kind of, maybe it played out too long. It was kind of way too drawn out.
Maybe.
And then when they dropped, like they said, "Oh, we're flying." I'm like, "What the fuck? How do we know you're flying? What the hell? You just fell into a pillow of marshmallow fluff."
Mm-hmm.
The fog was so thick you had no clue what the hell it is. So it was trying.
Yes, you could, because you could hear this. That's how you knew they were flying.
Yeah.
So the premise of the movie was okay. I'm not a huge fan of vampire movies, so that was something where I had to get through. But I love the cast. The cast was good, but it's a interesting type story where if vampires did exist, would they be hiding out in a town like that? Would they be seaside? Would they be in a dark, like a Transylvania type, where we see all those other stereotypical vampire movies like Dracula, and they're all sleeping in a coffin?
But fucking forks up in fucking Washington State, glittering.
Yes, they glitter in Washington. So why not? Why not California? These are California vampires. So you kind of see them hanging upside down, and you kind of see their toes were like gripping.
Yeah,
they were
just like a bat. Just like a bat.
They were gripping. They were gripping. Oh yeah, I mean it's like they're hanging upside down. And you're just like, okay, well, I don't get it. It is what it is. So Bearded Geek, let me know what's your take on the story.
Well, to add on to what you guys have said, I think the most horrific and tragic thing throughout the whole movie was the way that they treated the comics in the comic book shop. You don't treat comics like that. You treat them like gold. You don't bend them. You don't crease them. You read them carefully and put them away to be stored. That's what you do with comics.
Now, did Corey Feldman, did Froggy own that? Did the two kids own that comic book?
No, it was their parents. If you listen carefully, Sam at one point says, like, in your parents' comic book store.
Yeah.
So the two people you see passed out next to the TV, the man and woman, that's their parents.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. I got it.
No,
I got it. And then they steal it and take off running the comics. I thought that was funny.
Well, I mean, there was a couple scenes that actually did make me laugh throughout this. Like the one scene where I can't remember the boy, Corey Haim's character. He grabs the phone and he goes to call his mom really fast, and he grabs it and then he does this really fast. I'm like, oh yeah. It's back
rotary
before,
phone.
Yeah, rotary phones.
Rotary.
Messed up, gotta hang up again. 8, 9.
I'm like, oh
shit.
And they tried to make it so dramatic, but it was like it's like you can't really be dramatic like that. So that I thought that was kind of funny.
And if y'all folks, if you guys have never seen a rotary phone, go try to dial a 10-digit number with area code and mess up in the 4th digit and realize you have to start all over again.
Fuck that.
And you're just like, 8th digit. Shit.
Yeah.
You're like, shit.
It's so bad.
And don't mess up a 9. You have to make sure all the way goes all the way around and touches that little metal part.
Yep.
In order for it to read that it was a 9.
I will say, off topic of the movie itself, just on the rotary topic, I love watching the videos where parents give their kids rotary phones. Like, go ahead, call your grandpa.
Oh yeah, I love seeing stuff.
And they're sitting here and they're just fucking hitting the, like, in between the things, and they're like, it's not working.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a tone.
But
Shit, come on.
there was scenes like when Corey Haim's character looks at Michael in the reflection and it's kind of like faded out a little bit. It says, "You're a vampire," and he just totally flips. Like, you just came to this conclusion just now, and all of a sudden you're just now turning on your brother. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not helping you. I'm running away. It was just it was weird to me.
But
Like,
my favorite part about that was the overacting itself.
Well, this whole movie was overacting. Don't get me wrong.
Not all of it. There was like the intro where it showed credits. There was no overacting there.
Well, the dogs acted very well in this movie. So yeah,
the beginning scene with them on the damn merry-go-round.
Yeah,
you got the part, and I love. I'd say I would think based on some of the songs and the tempo of the movie, the soundtrack did the movie justice. I think the soundtrack was pretty good.
I thought the soundtrack was real good.
I think honestly, throughout this whole movie, I think that the story was good, but it was there were gaps.
87.
There were gaps. There were gaps in the story.
Yeah.
There was complete gaps in the story that probably needed to be fleshed out a little bit more. But other than that, it is what it is.
But to me, the best line in the entire movie is the last line spoken in the movie by the grandfather, where he walks in, grabs one of his root beers, cracks it open, and goes, "The one thing I couldn't stand about this town is
too many
fucking vampires."
Yeah,
and it just shows
and everybody's
the
like
family, and everybody's just sitting there, and he shuts the door because all the power's out.
Yeah.
Which I love that the power went on inside the entire house, but there was still power in the fridge. But he opens up the fridge, the lights on, and then you just see there look like, and then the door shuts and it just goes to black and fucking credits.
Right. All right, so we've each given a little spill about almost what we thought about the movie, but let's actually give our true thoughts. Bebo, what is your rating of this movie? 1 to 10. 1 to 10.
1 to 5.
1 to 10.
I was going to be like,
this
1 to 5.
Don't deserve anything higher than a 5.
1 to 10.
1 to 5.
1 to 5 is probably about the range it's probably going to get, but our rating is 1 to 10.
I will say this.
That's funny.
The movie itself, it's only one I would recommend to people who I know like that genre and like the cult type movies. I do like horror movies more than you two.
Mm-hmm.
So my rating will probably be a little higher just for the fact that I do like these type of movies.
I think you like corny, stupid horror movies more than we do.
Yeah,
because they make me laugh, bitch.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You got a point.
But for this, I would say, even though it's a cult classic, and I do like the movie, but it's not one it's not one of those ones where I can sit down and watch it at any time. Like if it's on TV, I'm more than likely going to bypass it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will probably give this for myself a 6. A little over 5, only because of the fact that I do like this genre. I do like kind of the goofy cornball stuff where it's just either bad acting or maybe the movie itself could have been a decent movie, but it was made probably a little bit before its time in a way.
Yeah, like I think they couldn't do a lot with special effects.
Yeah, I mean the fact that them flying is only where you would have been able to set up like the old school harness.
You imagine them
with the 2-string.
Wires and harness. Yeah.
Which I do love the part that's after the guys go down into and kill fucking Bill from Bill and Ted's.
Why did Bill be the first one to fucking die?
I know. Don't get me started. Do not get me started. We're going to need another taping for that section. We're going to have to do another taping for that section.
I think, why couldn't they kill the other guy first? Nobody knows who the hell he is.
No, they're not going to kill Twisted Sister first, but they're going to fucking kill Bill as Preston Esquire, bastards. But no,
he had to leave the set early to go film.
Bill and Ted. He's like, dude, I've got a bogus journey to go for. I'll be back. But no, the thing that I love about this is that after that part happens and the boys get out of there and they're like, we've only got 2 hours or whatever it is before the sun goes down and they actually come after us. When David wakes up and it's supposed to be him flying out of there going after him. If you watch that scene real closely, where it's like he's supposed to be flying out of it, that entire thing is played in reverse. Because if you see it come out of, when it comes out of the actual cave opening that's there on the cliff, if you watch the waves are going backwards.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
I didn't.
So the
notice
entire
that,
thing shot in reverse.
I noticed that.
But yeah, so for me, just because I'm a fan of it, and the fact that I do like the cast, even though some of the acting and shit in the movie wasn't that great, the cast I thought was good, great soundtrack. And just the fact that I like these kind of movies, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6. So okay. Mikey?
Well, your rating might be a little bit higher than mine.
Sherlock.
Look, I can't say that. I mean, I really didn't like the movie. It wasn't very tough to sit through, because you kind of want to, they leave it out there like, well, who's the head king vampire, I guess who'd say. And you kind of wanted to know, you kind of wanted to see like what kind of twist there would be. And it was kind of, to me, it was kind of obvious that first meeting that they had when they walked into that store. And you saw that it was, I can't remember. I know it's Edward Herrmann is his real name, but the tall guy.
I don't remember his
name.
Max.
Okay. So his Edward Herrmann character, Max, you kind of saw that chemistry that they had when they came in, and, he was pissed to be like, get out of here. You're not supposed to be here. So it was understanding like, well, he might play they might have a connection later on in the movie.
Yeah, because he didn't say it like the security guard kind of told him, to get off the boardwalk. Like, he's like, I told you never to come back in here. As it wasn't like, a shopkeeper's warning. It was more of like, better type of a warning.
Yeah. So you saw somewhat of a relationship later on in the movie. So, I wouldn't recommend this movie to anyone. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, it is a cult classic from '87. It is a huge movie for Kiefer Sutherland. That kind of catapulted his career.
Kiefer, not Kiefer.
Did I say Kiefer? I thought I said Kiefer.
You said Kiefer.
Kiefer. Okay, well, Kiefer.
Who gives a shit?
He's a keeper.
Who gives a shit?
It's gone.
Yeah.
So Donald Jr.
Yeah. So I think this movie kind of catapulted his career after this, because there were several movies in the late '80s that he became a little bit more popular for, which we'll go through that later. But it was just one of those movies where it's another Corey Feldman, Corey Haim movie to me. Like, all their movies that they did together are C movies at best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of their movies, every movie they've done together is C movie at best.
Yeah.
So my rating on this is a 5, just because I enjoyed the cast. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland.
Did y'all hear that echo?
Jamie Gertz that we mentioned, we just watched in Twister.
Yes.
She was in the movie. Spazzed Out. What the hell was Sunshine? What the fucking name was?
Yeah,
fucking hippie.
Star. Yeah. Hippie name. But we still got Feldman and Haim and Edward Herrmann, Diane Weist from Edward Scissorhands, that again we just watched.
Yeah, I feel like this movie just like flashbacks of the movies we've watched.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing 80s and 90s. That's
Eventually, this one I feel like had a bunch in it.
So you kind of realize that the movies we do, that because 80s and 90s, these guys are in a lot of 80s and 90s movies that we've done. But just for the cast alone, I'd give it a 6. Everything else, cinematographer was I didn't like the cinematography.
Wait. You said 6?
Did I say 5?
He meant 5.
Okay, I was making sure.
Oh, was that a Freudian slip, Mike?
I should have given it a 6. I don't know.
He's like, I forgot the soundtrack. We'll give it a 6.
But look, for the cast and the soundtrack, it's a 6, but it loses points for just being the movie. But the makeup I did like I said, when they became vampires at the very end, when they were pissed, like they're about to get killed.
I thought that was good. It was simple. They didn't like try to overdo it.
Exactly.
No, it was just the head type stuff, and it was just small cosmetic type stuff. They didn't really go over and above and overbearing as
not
a
seeing
vampire.
this movie before, it reminded me of Buffy. You know that
a little.
Yeah.
I actually feel like they did it a little better than Buffy, but
yeah. So to me, just a solid 5, just because the cast and that kind of. So yeah, I'm taking it as a 5.
Bear to Geek.
What about Bear to Geek?
Well, there wasn't much. This movie, it was a good movie. No, it was a decent movie.
You know it's going to be good when he has to sit here and find things he likes about the movie.
No, I actually like the story. I just wish it was shot and told better.
Told differently.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about one thing. This would have been 100 times better if it was made into a comic book.
Yeah.
Than a movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
Fuck you. You don't even read comics, Mikey. Shut the hell up.
No. But it would have. But it was.
They
one
should
of
have made
movies...
Pee Wee Herman as a vampire.
No, they waited for Buffy with that.
They did that, didn't they?
No, I enjoyed the story.
Never.
I enjoyed the story. I saw the twist coming, though.
Yeah, you do.
But it some parts felt like it needed some fleshing out, like him falling for. What was it? Michael falling for Star was just. It was too quick. It was way too quick. It was like, hey, I see you. Now we're kissing. Now.
So what you're talking about is love at first sight, because that's never mentioned anywhere.
The story for this type of movie, the story was told way too quick.
Mike, can you change your face a little? You look stoned as fuck.
But kind of like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's exactly what Star looked like.
The soundtrack was good. The makeup was good. The acting was average.
You can say not good. It's okay.
It was average. No, it was average. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland and all, Corey Haim and all them lower than Kiefer, but it was average. I'm going to give this a 5.5, right in the middle between you two. It can't go any higher because there's.
Can you repeat that, but do it less sexual, you sick bastard?
5.5.
Yeah. Okay, stop there. Don't say in between us like that. It just feels uncomfortable.
Well, I'm giving it a 5.5, right in between you two.
All right. Next thing he's going to say, don't forget to give us a thumb. And,
no, because I mean, it don't get no more because there was no boobs. You get no bump on the boob scale. So
I was really hoping to see
there was
Jamie
no
Dornan
boob bump for this for any of us.
No boob bump. So,
no boob bump.
5.5. I would recommend this to people because there's a lot of people who haven't seen this type of movie because of the newer generation. But this movie was, spawned a whole lot of other movies. So I 5.5. Bebo, what do you have for some movie trivia?
Movie trivia. Here we go. So. One thing that I'll bring up because of what Mikey said about Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, this was actually their first movie together. Mm-hmm. So this is what started, I guess,
the shitty movie,
their friendship and the shitty C movies that came out afterwards.
Started the Coreys.
One kind of interesting thing that I thought was both the bandstand that the band is playing in the first time, like Mike and Stars. No, let it go. We'll get back to it.
I forgot. I totally forgot about that scene.
I know. But when he sees Star and the Frog Brothers comic book store, they were actually destroyed in 1989 in the Loma Prieta earthquake. So those are no longer there.
Okay. But hold on. I got before you move on. The band, the dude singing.
It's not the band. It's not the band. It's just the singer, really.
The singer, the ripped dude with a freaking ponytail and a saxophone singing rock. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah,
I just want to know why you kept rewinding it.
Yeah, and somebody lost a bet. They had to have lost a bet. We need a band. How about Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
Yeah, can we get a wrestler with a saxophone singing rock and roll?
Yeah, just a couple of pelvic thrusts in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very ironic, funny.
This is maybe the second time I've watched the movie all the way through, and like when I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't remember this part.
We have chose to block it out.
Block it out. So there is a scene where Sam and the Frog Brothers stake Marco, which is Bill S. Preston Esquire, while he's sleeping. On their way out, when David, who's played by Kiefer Sutherland, when he grabs Sam's leg and like it, and they manage to kind of get his hand into the sunlight and it burns him. When he pulls it back and you see that tear roll down his face, and then he starts laughing, that tear was not meant to be there. The tear happened because of the contacts he was wearing. And they thought that it fit well with the scene, so they actually kept that in.
Oh, okay.
That worked. Good acting. Good improv.
Yeah, good improv. Shit's itchy as fuck. Gerard McMahon wrote the theme song "Cry Little Sister" to the movie after only reading the script and without ever seeing a frame of the film, which I thought was a little weird, but whatever. There were a couple more here. So in relation to you bringing up Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this movie actually invented the phrase "vamp out" that you hear a lot of times in shows like Buffy or movies that are more of today. And the one thing I thought was funny is what this movie was originally written as. The original screenplay, which was written by Jan Fisher and James Jeremias, was originally about a bunch of Goonie-type 5th and 6th grade kid vampires, with the Frogs brothers being chubby 8-year-old Cub Scouts. And I almost want to see that movie more. Just saying. But with the movie being done in Santa Cruz, the last thing here is that every year at the landmark Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, which is Santa Cruz, California, if y'all don't know where the hell that is, this film is actually screened as part of the park's free summer movie series. And many of the features of the town can still be recognized, most notably, of course, the rides and the boardwalk itself.
Awesome.
So that's just a few things here.
Well, I have a little bit of movie memorabilia. First thing I have is some Vans House of Terror collection, the Lost Boys style, in size 8, though. You can pick those up for $134 with only $15 shipping. Cool looking shoes, actually. Then we have a Redman Toys, a 1/6 scale, the Lost Boys classic vampire action figure, which it is Kiefer Sutherland's character, for $289, but it's only $499 shipping. Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah.
That's because somebody was sitting there going, I got an idea.
And the last thing I have is the Lost Boys David Silicone life-size bust, one of one movie prop, which looks pretty badass, actually. It's $1,781.06 with only like $132 shipping. So not bad, and it looks pretty badass. If you're a fan of the Lost Boys, that's actually really, really cool.
That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
I will say you'll probably appreciate that bust more if you gave it more of a ranking than we did.
This is true. All right, Mikey the Freak. What do you have for some related reels?
Oh, that's so funny. A few people want to go off with the main character, Kiefer Sutherland. So he was in a show called 24. If you guys have not seen the show 24,
small show.
About 10, 12 years on the air. Very, very good show. So check that out. A movie called Young Guns and Young Guns 2, which
small movie.
Very small movie. But love
very
that.
Good movie.
Yes.
It's a very good
That
movie.
was actually going to be my pick, but I couldn't find it streaming anywhere.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, that sucks. The Young Guns is good. So check that out. And then it's called Phone Booth with Colin Farrell.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was actually a decent flick.
I like that movie.
I was not expecting it to be as good as it was when I saw like the previews and stuff. I was like, eh.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Colin Farrell fan, but I heard he was good as the Penguin in the new Batman.
Really good.
Check it out.
He's really good.
But they didn't recognize him, and you still don't. But yeah, this movie I didn't think it was going to be a good one, and I sat down and watched it, several years back, and you really you hear his voice because he's the caller in it, but he's the villain, the sharpshooter, and very dramatic, and he does a very
it's very
good job
suspenseful on it. That movie is very suspenseful.
Yeah,
it really is.
One of those silent movies that are good, or the creeps up on you. So
it's a sleeper movie.
Sleeper movie, yeah.
Silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly with a gun. And then we've got Corey Feldman. I know we've mentioned Corey Feldman in the past with The Goonies, Stand By Me, and Gremlins. All great 80s, 90s movies that he's been in. Most of his career was 80s and 90s. He ain't done shit. Diane,
couple guest spots here and there,
yeah, here and there. Diane Weist, that we've mentioned in the past, also in Edward Scissorhands, which is a good movie that we check out our podcast on Edward Scissorhands, and The Birdcage. Birdcage is a very good movie.
Yep, she was in that too.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
And then Edward Herrmann was the last one. I wanted to mention him. Edward Herrmann was in Overboard. If you've ever seen Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, yeah. Man with One Red Shoe with Tom Hanks, also a good movie. And then he was in Richie Rich. He was the dad in Richie Rich.
And the grandfather on Gilmore Girls. Don't ask how I know that.
Yeah, I know Gilmore Girls. But no, so a lot of characters. I mean, it was a lot of movies that these guys have been in. Popular ones, like I said, Jamie Gertz. We just did with Twister. But yeah, check it out. Very good movies.
Yep,
yes.
Absolutely.
All right, as we come to a close, do all the YouTuber things. Give us a good old thumb in. Hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what you thought of The Lost Boys. If you like The Lost Boys, tell us your ratings. We do have a giveaway that is running to the end of April. If you check out the Jurassic Park video, you should see how to enter. All right. As we come to an end, for Mikey the Freak and Bebo, I am the Bearded Geek saying, keep it retro, everybody.
Peace out.